Regret and guilt have a way of clinging to us, like shadows cast by the choices we've made. We look back sometimes with a heavy heart, wondering if we could have done things differently, taken another path, spoken another word, made another decision. And yet, what does this accomplish? Does regret change the past? Does guilt rewrite history? No. It only drains the present, steals our joy, and burdens us with a weight that serves no purpose. There comes a time when we must recognize that the past is no longer ours to mold. The years we have lived are set in stone, and no amount of rethinking, replaying, or reimagining will alter what has already been done. But what we do have, what remains firmly in our hands, is the present. And the only way to truly live it, to fully embrace it, is to release the grasp that regret and guilt have on our souls. Consider how much energy we expend revisiting moments of failure, disappointment, or missed opportunities. We tell ourselves, if only I had done this, or I wish I could go back and fix that. But we can't. That road is closed. And when we dwell in this cycle, we rob ourselves of the peace and fulfillment that could be ours right now. Regret, in its essence, is a refusal to accept reality as it is. It is a rebellion against the truth of time itself. And guilt, if it is not accompanied by meaningful change, becomes nothing more than self-inflicted suffering. A burden that serves no function except to weigh us down. But let's take this a step further. Ask yourself, who benefits from your regret? Who gains from your guilt? The answer is no one. You don't become a better person by punishing yourself endlessly for the past. Those you've wronged are not helped by your suffering. The people who love you today are not enriched by the sorrow you carry from yesterday. The only thing regret accomplishes is the erosion of your own spirit. This is not to say that we should ignore the lessons of the past. Quite the opposite. We must learn, we must reflect, but then we must move forward. A lesson is only valuable if it propels us into a better future. Holding on to guilt does not make you virtuous. It does not make you wise. It only keeps you shackled to a life that no longer exists. Forgiveness then becomes a necessity. Not just forgiving others, but forgiving yourself. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or even yesterday. The person who made those mistakes, that person is gone. The person who stands here today has the power to choose differently, to live differently, to embrace the world with a heart unburdened by yesterday's sorrow. Think of how many people reach the later years of their life and find themselves drowning in what-ifs and should-haves. It serves no one. It steals from the time they have left, time that should be spent in gratitude, in connection, in joy. If you have loved ones, cherish them now. If you have passions, pursue them now. If you have the ability to laugh, to breathe, to wake up to another day, then that is where your focus must be. So let go. Not because the past doesn't matter, but because it has already played its role. The story is still being written, and the only pages you have control over are the ones ahead of you. Release regret, discard guilt, free yourself from their grip, and step fully into the life that remains. There comes a point in life when you must ask yourself a simple but profound question. Who do you allow into your space? Who do you let shape your days, influence your emotions, and occupy the limited time you have left? Because whether you realize it or not, the people around you, your relationships, your connections, are either lifting you up or pulling you down. And at this stage of life, you cannot afford to carry the weight of toxic relationships any longer. Too often people hold on to relationships out of habit, obligation, or even fear. They tell themselves, well, I've known this person for decades, or their family, so I have to tolerate them, or it's too late to change now. But let's be honest. How many of these relationships actually add value to your life? How many of these people bring you peace, joy, or meaningful companionship? If someone consistently drains you, belittles you, disrespects you, or leaves you feeling worse after every interaction, then what exactly is the point of keeping them around? There's a misguided idea that as we age, we should simply accept whatever social circles we have, that we should endure relationships even when they make us unhappy, but that's nonsense. If anything, the later years of life should be the time when you are most selective about who you surround yourself with. You've spent decades building wisdom, understanding what truly matters, and recognizing what is worth your time. Why waste even a moment more on people who bring negativity into your life? Some people are takers. They will use your kindness, your generosity, your patience, and they will give nothing in return. They thrive on drama, on conflict, on making others feel small so they can feel bigger. And if you allow them to stay, they will continue to take, to drain, to diminish the quality of your life without a second thought. Others may not be intentionally harmful, but they bring with them a constant air of pessimism, bitterness, or self-pity. And that energy seeps into you, whether you like it or not. Now, that doesn't mean you should be cold or unkind. You don't need to burn bridges dramatically or create unnecessary conflict, but you do need to be firm in your boundaries. You need to decide once and for all that your time is too precious to be spent in the company of those who don't respect, appreciate, or uplift you. If someone continually drains your energy, it's okay to step back. If a relationship has become nothing but a source of stress, it's okay to let it go. Think about it this way. You wouldn't continue eating food that made you sick just because you've been eating it for years. You wouldn't keep using a chair that always collapses under you. So why would you keep engaging with people who leave you feeling empty, angry, or unworthy? It makes no sense. The people in your life should bring you laughter, wisdom, and support. They should challenge you to be better in a way that feels constructive, not destructive. And when you remove those toxic influences, something remarkable happens. You create space for peace, space for new connections, space for joy. You start to notice the people who genuinely care for you, the ones who listen, who encourage, who bring light instead of darkness. And in that space, you find yourself feeling lighter, freer, more at peace with the life you've built. At this stage in life, you don't have time for meaningless drama, unnecessary burdens, or relationships that take more than they give. Choose wisely. Let go of the people who no longer serve your growth and embrace the ones who truly value you. There's something liberating about letting go of what you no longer need. For years, decades even, we accumulate things. We collect, we store, we hold on to objects, convinced that they have some inherent value simply because they have been with us for a long time. And yet, if we're being honest, how much of what surrounds us actually serves us anymore? How much of it contributes to a sense of peace, of clarity, of a life well lived? People cling to possessions for many reasons. Sometimes it's sentimental, an old piece of furniture from a loved one, a closet full of clothes that haven't been worn in years, stacks of papers and trinkets that seem too important to discard. Other times it's simply habit. We keep things because we always have without questioning whether they still belong in our lives. But here's the truth. Every item in your home, every object in your space demands something from you. It demands attention, maintenance, storage. It fills your environment, and by extension, it fills your mind. There's a reason people feel lighter when they clean out a cluttered room. The external world reflects the internal one. When your space is filled with unnecessary things, your mind too becomes weighed down by the past, by memories that no longer serve you, by obligations you no longer need to fulfill. But when you start to let go, when you strip away the excess, you create room to breathe, you make space for clarity, you allow yourself to focus on what truly matters. And, let's be realistic, possessions do not hold life. They do not love you back. They do not provide meaning beyond what you assign to them. A home should be a sanctuary, not a storage unit. The objects within it should bring joy, should serve a purpose, should contribute to a sense of order and tranquility. If they don't, then why keep them? Why burden yourself with things that do nothing but take up space? Some people resist this idea because they fear losing their history. They think that by discarding objects, they are somehow erasing their past. But the past does not live in things. It lives in you. It lives in the relationships you've built, the experiences you've had, the wisdom you've gained. No amount of old furniture, dusty books, or unused gifts will bring back what has already passed. The only thing they will do is crowd your present, making it harder to move forward unencumbered. And there's another reality to consider. Someone else could use what you no longer need. That coat hanging untouched in the closet, it could warm another person. That set of dishes collecting dust, it could serve meals to a family in need. Letting go isn't just an act of personal freedom, it's an act of generosity. When you release what you don't need, you allow it to find a new purpose elsewhere. But the greatest gift of decluttering isn't just in the physical space it creates, it's in the mental and emotional space. When you strip away the unnecessary, you gain a greater appreciation for what remains, the things that do matter. Your health, your relationships, your experiences become clearer, more precious. There's a profound peace in knowing that you are not weighed down by what no longer serves you. So take a look around. Ask yourself, do I really need this? Does it bring me joy, or is it just something I've kept because I thought I had to? If the answer is no, then let it go. Make space for what truly matters. There is a tremendous burden that comes with seeking the approval of others. It's a trap, a never-ending cycle where your happiness, your self-worth, and even your very identity become dependent on the opinions of people who may not understand you, may not truly care about you, or may never be satisfied no matter what you do. And yet, so many spend their lives looking outward, waiting for validation, hoping for approval, afraid to simply exist as they are, without the reassurance of others. But by the time you've reached this stage of life, it becomes clear seeking external validation is a waste of time, and it's time to throw it away. Think about how much energy is spent worrying about what others think. How many decisions have been made not because they were right for you, but because they were expected by someone else? How many moments of joy have been dimmed because you hesitated, afraid of how you might be perceived? How many paths were never taken because the fear of judgment held you back? And now looking back, was any of it worth it? Did the approval of others truly bring you lasting fulfillment? Or was it just a fleeting sense of relief, followed by the same gnawing uncertainty that sent you chasing after it again? The truth is, no matter what you do, someone will always have an opinion. If you choose one path, some will criticize it. If you choose another, different voices will rise against you. You cannot please everyone, and the more you try, the further you stray from yourself. And at the end of the day, whose voice matters most? The voices of those who judge from a distance, or the voice within you that knows who you are, what you value, and what truly makes your life meaningful? There's a freedom that comes with no longer needing to be liked by everyone. When you stop looking outside yourself for permission to be who you are, you begin to live with an authenticity that cannot be shaken. You stop apologizing for your existence. You stop filtering your words, your actions, your choices through the expectations of others. You start living for yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a way that acknowledges that your life is yours to lead. Now, some people hear this and assume it means disregarding others entirely, shutting yourself off from meaningful relationships, ignoring all feedback. But that's not what this is about. It's about recognizing the difference between valuing the perspectives of those who genuinely care for you and being enslaved by the opinions of those who don't. It's about understanding that true respect doesn't come from constantly bending to the expectations of others. It comes from standing firm in who you are. And here's something worth remembering. When you stop seeking approval, you actually gain more respect. People are drawn to those who are secure in themselves. They may not always agree with you, but they will see you as someone who knows their own mind, who is not easily swayed by passing trends or fleeting opinions. And the people who can't handle that, the ones who demand that you conform, who only approve of you when you fit their mold, they were never truly in your corner to begin with. There is nothing left to prove. You have lived, you have learned, and you have nothing to gain from shaping yourself to please those who will never be satisfied. So let it go. Live as you are, without apology, without hesitation, and without the need for anyone else's permission. The habits you carry define the quality of your life. They shape your days, your health, your state of mind. And yet so many people hold on to habits that do nothing but harm them. Patterns of behavior that drain their energy, erode their well-being, and keep them from living fully. There comes a point when you must ask yourself, why am I still doing this? What purpose does it serve? And if the answer is nothing, then it's time to let it go. Unhealthy habits don't always announce themselves. They creep in slowly, disguised as small comforts, easy escapes, or routines too familiar to question. Maybe it's food, reaching for whatever's convenient rather than what truly nourishes you. Maybe it's sleep, staying up too late, waking up exhausted, convincing yourself it doesn't matter. Maybe it's inactivity, letting the body weaken because movement feels like too much effort. Or maybe it's something deeper, the habit of worrying over things you can't control, carrying stress that serves no purpose, clinging to patterns of thinking that leave you anxious and unsettled, and yet these things add up. They shape the days ahead, determining whether you wake up with energy or fatigue, whether your mind is clear or clouded, whether you move through life with ease or with struggle. No one escapes the consequences of their habits. The body keeps score. The mind records everything. And at a certain age, you no longer have the luxury of treating your well-being as an afterthought. Every choice either strengthens you or weakens you, and you cannot afford to keep choosing the things that take more than they give. Some people resist change because they believe it's too late. They tell themselves, well, I've lived this way for years, why stop now? But that's just another excuse to stay comfortable. The truth is, it's never too late to choose better. You may not be able to erase the past, but you can decide how you live from this moment forward. You can choose to move, to nourish, to rest, to care for yourself in ways that truly matter. And it doesn't have to be drastic. Small, consistent changes. Getting outside for a walk, drinking more water, replacing one unhealthy meal with something better, setting a bedtime that actually allows for rest. These things compound over time. But beyond the physical, there are the habits of the mind, letting go of resentment, of unnecessary worry, of the habit of dwelling on things that no longer serve you. These are just as important. Some people spend years replaying the same thoughts, going over the same anxieties, holding on to bitterness as if it somehow gives them power. But what does it actually do? Nothing but steal your peace. If a habit does not improve your life, it has no place in it. And this is not about perfection. It's not about rigid rules or impossible standards. It's about understanding that every choice is a step in one direction or another, toward health or decline, toward strength or weakness, toward a mind that is clear and present or one that is burdened and distracted. You get to decide. And if you have the ability to choose better, why wouldn't you? So let go of what no longer serves you. Drop the habits that make life harder than it needs to be. Choose the things that bring energy, clarity, and peace. Because the years ahead, however many there may be, should be lived fully, not just endured.